We are here to witness the signing ceremony of a revised cooperation framework between the Comesa Competition Commission and the Competition Authority of Kenya. Distinguished delegates, you may want to just appreciate that the two institutions, Comesa on one end, Comesa Competition Commission on one end being a regional authority, but also the Competition Authority of Kenya, have been in this collaboration for quite a long time. I think we've been definitely working together in all aspects of our work. And this event, the signing of this revised MOU, is actually one of the witness, it's one of the signal to the very good and smooth cooperation that we've been having, to the extent that the first cooperation agreement, which was signed some time back, I believe around 2017, has been implemented effectively. And through that implementation, the two, having reviewed it, realized that there are a number of areas which needed reconsidering. But also, as is the case in most strategic documents, there is always a provision for a review clause. And it is by that very provision that we're here today. Distinguished PS representative, without wasting a lot of time, I know my superiors are here, and they will speak more to why we are meeting today, and to also lead us through the actual signing ceremony for this revised cooperation agreement. Before I hand over the next step on the program, which, as you may have seen, we've got a number of distinguished guests lined up to make statements. At this juncture, we will be moving to the next item on our program, whereby we are going to have remarks from the Director and Chief Executive Officer of the Comesa Competition Commission, Dr. Willard Mwemba.
I wish to welcome you all to this signing ceremony of the revised cooperation framework agreement between the Comesa Competition Commission and the Competition Authority of Kenya. As you've heard, this is not the first MOU we are signing with Kenya. We already have an MOU. This is a revised MOU that we are signing. And as the Master of Ceremony indicated earlier on, the MOU between us and CAK has been running since 2016. And while I give special recognition to the Competition and Fair Trading Commission of Malawi, that they were the first institution we signed an MOU with, I think CAK, Mary, if I'm not mistaken, was the second. Yeah. But CAK was actually the pioneer. We even have a letter in our offices that was written by the Director General, Mr. Wangombe Francis Kariuki, who initiated this process of signing MOUs in order to ensure that there is effective enforcement of regional competition, the regional competition laws. So I think we give that special recognition to the CAK as well for those efforts. Let me also express the Commission's sincere gratitude and appreciation to everyone present today for joining us to witnessing the signing of this revised cooperation framework agreement. We are humbled by your presence. Special recognition and welcome should go to our visitors from Kenya, and we welcome you to the warm heart of Africa. And the special recognition also goes to the representative of the Malawi government, Madam Charity Musonzo. We are forever indebted to the continued support you've rendered to the Commission. I take this opportunity, Director Charity Musonzo, to thank the Ministry of Trade indeed for the support that it has rendered to us. We were recently blessed with title deeds for the land where we will be commencing the construction of our offices, most likely this year. So we thank you for that support. I also take this opportunity for thanking you for giving us extra officer premises a challenge we had for a very long period of time, and that now that has been resolved, we sincerely thank you. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, let me start by giving a brief background to this auspicious occasion that we are all witnessing today. Pursuant to the Comesa Competition Regulations of 2004, the Commission is obliged to cooperate with national competition authorities of member states while discharging its mandate of regulating competition and consumer protection within the common market. So for us, it is not just a cosmetic thing that we are doing here, or a thing indeed would claim is our initiative to cooperate with national competition authorities. No, we are mandated by law, actually, that we should cooperate with national competition authorities. Thus, on 27th April 2016, the Commission and the Competition Authority of Kenya concluded the Cooperation Framework Agreement on cooperation in the application and enforcement of the Comesa Competition Regulations. As I always say, and I keep on saying this, it's a fallacy to believe that a regional competition authority is superior, or indeed a regional competition authority is better than national competition authorities. In principle, actually should be the opposite, because there can never be an effective regional competition authority if you do not have effective national competition authorities. There can never be an effective regional competition authority if you do not have proper, effective and efficient collaborations and working relationships with national competition authorities. But I think that should be made very, very clear that national competition authorities are the pillars, the strong pillars on which regional competition authorities stand. The aim of the Cooperation Framework Agreement was to promote and facilitate coordination between the Comesa Competition Commission and the Competition Authority of Kenya in the harmonization of regulations and competition laws and policies. To facilitate implementation of the Cooperation Framework Agreement, the institutions further agreed on a joint implementation work plan in May 2017, which had a 2-year implementation timeline. Among the key focus areas of the implementation plan included cooperation in investigation of regional measures, on which we have done extremely well. They say don't sound your own trumpet and praise yourself, but today I'm tempted to sing that song and in self-praise, that in collaboration with the Competition Authority of Kenya, we've done a very good job on cooperation on regional measures, restrictive business practices, and indeed consumer protection cases, the review of the regulations and guidelines, and advocacy and awareness, to mention a few. We've been instrumental on each other's guidelines. The CAK has issued a number of guidelines. We commented on those guidelines. We've done the same. In fact, as I'm speaking, we are still working on some guidelines at the Comesa Competition Commission, to which the Competition Authority of Kenya has extensively commented. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, I'm pleased to report that this far the cooperation between the Commission and the CAK has resulted in positive outcomes, the most important being Kenya's publishing of major threshold guidelines in 2019 through the Competition General Rules of 2019, which reaffirmed the jurisdictional boundaries between the Commission and the CAK in the regulation of measures. So this was a very important milestone, and again, Kenya was the leader in coming up with such a framework, which I may call a legal framework, before Uganda, Eswatini, and a few other member states followed suit. Okay, you may wish to note that before the publication of these rules, the business community was required to file regional measures with both the CAK and the Commission, which was a huge cost on business. One of the reasons competition authorities exist is to make sure that the cost of doing business is reduced substantially. Competition authorities should not exist to add to the cost of doing business. And with these guidelines we are talking about, which were promulgated in Kenya, the cost of doing business for enterprises in the Comesa region was significantly reduced. As a result of the cooperation framework, the Commission and CAK have deepened collaboration in the assessment of cross-border measures, investigation of restrictive business practices, and consumer protection violations involving undertakings present in the Kenyan market. I have in mind, especially from a major's point of view, I have in mind the Total GAPCO measure, on which the Comesa Competition Commission and the CAK collaborated very extensively to address the competition concerns that were raised in the Kenyan market by that measure. It was one of the measures where we collaborated so extensively and issued an approval with undertakings that had addressed those concerns in the Kenyan markets. It is worth noting that digital markets are gaining prominence both at national and regional level. Business transactions are predominantly being done via online platforms, which has reduced the need for customers to physically visit shops in order to purchase goods. This prominence has been exacerbated by the advent of the COVID-19 pandemic, which has limited movement of goods, services, and people. These developments have raised questions on the role of the that the competition regulators should play in the digital space. The questions that are arising are: do we as competition authorities, do we have enough tools, do we have enough skills, do we have enough competence to address anti-competitive concerns that are arising in non-traditional markets like digital markets? These are things that are being discussed, and we did not want to be left behind as the CAK and the Comesa Competition Commission to make sure that we put this in our MOU and focus on these matters in ensuring that we address them as they arise in the common market. Another recent development affecting competition law enforcement is the negotiations under the Tripartite Free Trade Area and the African Continental Free Trade Area, where competition law framework is also on the agenda. We do not want to be caught by surprise. The Director General, Mr. Wangombe Kariuki, one of the concerns that he had, a legitimate concern I should say, what he had when the Comesa Competition Commission commenced its operations was that, look, we want to support this regional authority. We want to support regional competition enforcement because it's in the interest of the common market. But while we do that, it's important that we move on the same page. In fact, the letter that we have, Mary, where he proposed for the signing of an MOU, those are some of the main issues he raised. We should move on the same page. It is important that you should have brought people on board so that they understand this thing, then they know. It's the same thing that we want to avoid now. So under the MOU, there are issues that we'll be discussing, like the Tripartite Free Trade Area, the African Continental Free Trade Area. What are the implications for national competition regulations? What are the implications for regional competition enforcement? What will be the position of the Comesa Competition Commission when the Tripartite Free Trade Area and African Continental Free Trade Area competition law framework is in place? We don't want to be caught by surprise, and these are the things that we'll be discussing extensively under the auspices of this MOU. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, the question here is, how will the new competition law enforcement regimes interact with existing national, for example, Kenya, regional, for example, Comesa, given that member states of Comesa are also member states of other regional groupings, such as also the East African community. This encompasses some of the new issues that the revised cooperation framework between the Commission and CAK seeks to address. Specifically, the revised cooperation framework has incorporated collaboration in conducting market inquiries, consumer protection. Consumer protection is a very recent thing. It was in the law at the Comesa Competition Commission, but it was not an active area that we are looking at. We are quite very active in that area now, and we know CAK has been very active even in consumer matters. So we want to collaborate with them. In fact, we want to learn from them. Remember, I said it is not true. There is this impression that people at regional level, I don't know where people get this impression that there is some kind of hierarchy where the regional level is somewhere there, the regional authority, then the national authority. It's not the case. For example, in consumer matters, there is a lot that we learn from the CAK under the auspices of this MOU. And that's why it is called the Framework Cooperation Agreement. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, the Commission is therefore delighted to conclude the revised cooperation framework with CAK, which will further strengthen the already existing excellent relationship between our two institutions. The Comesa Competition Commission looks forward to the continued cordial working relationship with the CAK in the implementation of the cooperation framework. With these few remarks, I hope there have been few, I wish to welcome you to this auspicious event, and it is now my hearty pleasure to invite my counterpart, Mr. Francis Wangombe Kariuki, who I also consider my elder brother, to come and deliver to this gathering his remarks. I consider him my elder brother, for I've had quite a number of interactions with him in the past, and so much guidance has been given to me by him. Sir, I invite you to the podium.
Ladies and gentlemen, let me welcome you to this event of signing the revised MOU between Competition Authority of Kenya and Comesa Competition Commission. As we have indicated, it is a revised MOU, and my brother Willard has really elucidated where we have come from. But as a background, you may be aware competition regulation in Kenya was deepened and modernized through the enactment and operationalization of the Competition Act in 2011. The operationalization entailed building critical resources, which is very critical for any competition agency, including budget and human capital, and developing subsidiary legislation to create transparency and predictability of the enforcement process. It is important to highlight that this regime was more focused on supporting competition regulation in the national market, that is the Kenyan market. At the same period, Comesa Competition Commission was operationalized with an ultimate objective of mitigating competition infringements with cross-border effects. So we had what I may refer to as municipal law, and then we had a regional law. At our nascent stage, we, as the Competition Authority of Kenya, we were aware of this symbiotic relationship between ourselves as the national enforcer and Comesa Competition Commission as a regional competition enforcer. And pursuant to this, it was imperative to develop mechanisms, as Willard has put it, for cooperating and coordinating the municipal and the regional enforcement initiatives. Because it is, of course, you don't start building a house from the roof. You start building from the foundation. And from where I stand, the national laws and the national competition agencies are the foundation. But obviously, you cannot have a foundation without a roof, and that is what is called a whole house. This was aimed at creating cohesive and coherent regulatory approach, minimizing transaction costs for our investors who are respecting national legal obligations. I know at the start there was a lot of reporting everywhere that Kenya is against Comesa, Kenya is opposing the establishment of Comesa, but we had our own legal obligations to respect. My parliament had donated powers to me. I could not donate those powers to Comesa without visiting the people who had donated power to me so that they can give me the go-ahead to donate power to Comesa. And that is what we wanted to do through coherent and cohesive approach. Informed by this realization, we were able, together with Comesa Competition Commission, to develop regional merger threshold guidelines, referral mechanisms, and most importantly, minimum thresholds for custody of confidential information, because we are holding information for investors which is very critical for their own survival in the market. In addition, we went forward and developed instruments and forums for exchanging information and building enforcement capacity, and this was further concretized by signing of the MOU in April 2016, and that is the MOU we have revisited today, which not only highlighted the warranties of the Competition Authority of Kenya and the Comesa Competition Commission, but also developing our annual work plans. Because to work together is that we had to have cohesive and coherent work plans, have same work plans within our strategic plan, so that when I'm budgeting, I'm also budgeting for activities under Comesa. The above developments have facilitated information exchange when dealing in restrictive business practices And one example is a case in the maritime and haulage transport sector, that is the shipping sector. And also, and Willard has really highlighted, speedy and in-depth analysis, and specifically of 82 cross-border mergers within that period. As an effective regulator, we are alive at the CAK to the fact that markets are dynamic. Since signing of our first MOU, there are emerging issues that are driving competition or competitiveness of firms in the markets. These issues are also affecting consumers in terms of their protection. They include the role of data in building a competitive advantage to a firm and expansion of the digital economy in lieu of the traditional markets. And the seemingly, here I will not be diplomatic as Willard has tried to be, and seemingly incompetence of the current laws to regulate the emerging issues. In regard to consumer protection, we have seen the growth of platforms from supporting the taxi industry, which has employed a lot of people and brought about many cars in the market and reduced the prices, to money transfers and payments, and online commerce. The platform providers not only transcend regional boundaries, but also continental boundaries. If you have a challenge with the mobile taxi providers, you are told to report, I think, to Amsterdam, Netherlands. If I'm paying for my Netflix, when I pay, it always goes to Netflix. When there's an issue in terms of a consumer protection issues, what capacity do I have to follow up on that kind of a consumer protection issues? And this is why we are talking about cooperation, not only at regional level, but also at continental level. Therefore, in case of a competition infringement or a consumer protection infringement, national laws may not be competent to address the same. It is with this realization of the Competition Authority of Kenya and the CCC have deemed it necessary to review the current MOU to ensure that it remains potent to address the challenges presented by the aforementioned emerging issues, among others. Our mantra at the CAK is that any regulatory regime proposed or developed should be optimal to support innovation, while at the same time protecting the competition process and consumers. Therefore, research is critical during this period, during this process. We have to be honest. The issues highlighted are novel, and hence, across the whole world, researchers have invested to appreciate them. It is on this basis that we envisage to continue working closely with research bodies such as Center for Competition Regulation and Economic Development, and I'm happy, Grace, you are here, including other competition regulation forums such as African Competition Forum. To conclude, it is important to highlight that through experience, we have come to appreciate that cooperation should not only be vertical, that is, national to regional. With the proliferation of regional economic communities and the existence of dual membership, there exists an indispensable urgent need for horizontal cooperation. By horizontal cooperation, I mean regional economic communities cooperating with other regional economic communities cooperation agencies. And there's the reality I would like to push to my brother Willard, Comesa Competition Commission, and the East African Community Competition Authority, and motivate you to develop a framework aimed at minimizing regulatory obstacles and processes that impede regional investments and trade. The Competition Authority of Kenya commits to each and every initiative aimed at extinguishing regulatory obstacles within our markets for the benefits of our citizens. Lastly, may I take this opportunity to thank the staff and management of the Competition Commission, Comesa Competition Commission, and Team CAK for informing the development of this framework. We look up to you to deliver our commitments. Not forget my brothers here, and there's no sister in the media, my brothers here and sisters, we look forward to working with you. Personally, I believe that media is very critical in driving a competition culture. We are not looking upon you to sing our good praises, report where we go right and report where we go wrong. Thank you very much.
At this juncture, allow me, a representative of PS, Director General, Director, but also ED, to invite Commissioner Vincent Nkoma, my commissioner in the board of the Comesa Competition Commission, to also come to the podium to deliver his remarks. Commissioner, you are most welcome.
I did mention in the introductory remarks that we are here greatly honored. I am here greatly honored to represent the chairperson and the entire board of the Comesa Competition Commission to this very glamorous ceremony in which we are witnessing the signing of the revised cooperation framework between the Comesa Competition Commission and the Competition Authority of Kenya, of which I think the two distinguished colleagues have elaborated as to what the agreements do entail. Two things, which I picked from them. I don't want to go through repeating things, but I think the two takeaway home messages. One from Dr. Mwemba, who confessed here in front of all of us that actually the national competition authorities are by design the pillars on which the regional authority has rest. That's a very, very important statement which we need to take into account, and actually it's in recognition of that we are witnessing a ceremony of this nature, that we are signing a cooperation framework. And in doing so, we are ensuring an amicable or peaceful coexistence, so that Article 5.2b of the treaty, which has been sometimes misinterpreted to give the Comesa regulations the force of law. It was like, hey, you member state, here's a gun, give us the force of law, which is not the correct interpretation. And that's why our second take-home message from my brother, Mr. Wamwombe Kagioki, is again very clear to say, let's go procedurally, because you cannot expect him or them to just wake up one day and donate their power. I think you heard that message, that I cannot just donate what is given to me by the national laws just because something has been born at the regional level. Very important messages which I picked. So what it entails then that what we need is jurisdiction of existence. The Comesa, as the director have said, relies on the strength and support of the national competition authorities, and the same applies to the national competition authorities, that they rely also on the capacity of the regional body. So we from the board, actually we are thrilled, we are joyous of these developments which are taking place to solidify the agreement which was already there, to make it effective, and also to note that we have had the foresight of factoring in things or issues pertaining to the tripartite free trade area as well as the Africa continental free trade area. And that's a very wonderful development because that's a key foresight so that we should be caught unawares, as the director did mention. And also we know that we are moving towards a continental economic integration, whether we like it or not. That trend is moving, and as competition authorities, we need to move with the tide. The other thing we wanted to look at from the board side is the issues of capacity at both the national as well as the regional competition authority. We believe, we have not read much of what is in there, but we should think the issues of capacity enhancement, either way, have been taken into consideration, especially the shortfalls which we see among many of the national competition authorities, the investigative capacity and the resources, as well as the international best practices on how we ought to do these things. I think these are some of the key issues which have to be clearly articulated and addressed, not only with Kenya, but as we move also to having the same engagements with the other Comesa member states. Now, what also we believe in is that such MOUs are not just signed for coexistence as such, but the key issue is what message are we sending to the market participants, the business community. There is a strong message because if they hear today that actually Comesa and its other member states are working together, are enforcing together, they know that the days of foreign shopping are over. Therefore, there will be a sweep of all the cross-border restrictive business practices across the board. There will be no place to hide. Because if we don't cooperate, they will find a loophole that I can jump this one, possibly, and find a refugee along this one. So as we move together, we are sending a very strong message that as Comesa region, the whole space is closed to cross-border anti-competitive business practices. Let me, in conclusion, thank you, Director Triple C, and my brother, the head of the Kenya Competition Authority, for the job well done, for you to reach the level of having a revised cooperation framework. It means, as you have rightly said, the momentum has been going and you have realized that there are other aspects which you need to put into the document to ensure that the cooperation is solid. That's not a small task. It has taken you time and resources to be where we are today. And on behalf of the chair and the entire board, let me congratulate you for this feat which you have achieved today. At the end, it's now my honor and privilege, before I say much into the policy issues, the PS also will be on my neck. So you may have jumped your territory. Let me take this opportunity to invite Madam Sonzo, who is the representative of the PS for Malawi, to come forward and bless us with her remarks, and he also take us to the main activity of the day.
On behalf of the Malawi government and indeed on behalf of the management of the Ministry of Trade and Industry and the Principal Secretary in particular, I would once again welcome you all to this auspicious occasion, and a special welcome to Director General Mr. Francis Kariuki, because you are our guest. So we note that the Competition and Fair Trading Commission, who are present here with us, were the first ones to enter into a cooperation framework with the Comesa Competition Commission in 2015. This has already been alluded to by my predecessors, but it's worth noting because it marked an era of new thinking, that we shouldn't be static in the way we are operating, because competition issues are not static. We note that Kenya was not left behind, as in 2016 an agreement was signed between the CAK and the Comesa Competition Commission. So coincidentally, our CFTC was also the first national competition authority to revise its MOU with the CCC. So we are very proud to have pioneered the revision of the MOUs with the Comesa Competition Commission, whose implementation is currently being undertaken. We are also very honored to be here to witness this signing ceremony of the revised MOU between Kenya and Comesa Competition Commission. Indeed, as more member states enhance their collaboration with the Comesa Competition Commission, an opportunity is available for these member states to collaborate further with each other and to achieve the wider objectives of the Comesa Treaty and indeed the Comesa competition regulations. I think a lot has been said about the regulations and the national law being key in terms of talking to the same thing. So we really need to look at what the regional law says and what is obtaining at national level. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, it is important to understand that as markets become seamless and the geographical scope of the globe shrinks, businesses have also evolved, and they have also developed sophisticated tools and methods to avoid being caught by competition laws. So the new emerging issues that have evolved in the market that are changing the way businesses are operate and are also very challenging in a way because the regulators have always got to think on the effectiveness of the legal and policy framework that is there. So we really have to be on the guard, but as I said that the Comesa, the competition issues, the consumer protection issues keep on evolving, and the global world is globalizing in the digital economy. Everything else is changing the way we are operating. So we really need to guard against such issues by what we have in our framework. So the digital economy, as I've said, is one such emerging issue that is very challenging to the competition authority, especially to the competition law that we have. And therefore, it is imperative that competition authorities should be innovative in order to detect anti-competitive conduct and prosecute such offending businesses. And one of the strategies to use in order to address these emerging issues is to apply international best practices, and those which can only be achieved through cooperation at national, regional and continental level. I think a lot has been alluded to the tripartite free trade area, to the African continental free trade area, which are the emerging markets and where a lot of partnerships, cooperation and agreements are being concluded, not forgetting the Comesa competition policy that is also going to be negotiated at that continental level. So we need to be on the card, indeed, as governments as well as authorities responsible for regulating the competition issues. So cooperation, therefore, between the competition authorities is a greater leap in the right direction. I'm informed that among the objectives of the cooperation framework is the harmonization of the national law and the regional law. It is therefore imperative that, where applicable, our national authorities quickly align the national law in order to fit into the regional framework. With these remarks, I wish to commend the Competition Authority of Kenya and the CCC for this initiative. It is a great honor, as I've already mentioned. And as we are looking forward to our further cooperation, especially at that level, we are looking forward to more member states having their cooperation or their MOUs revised, and who knows, maybe Malawi will also host the next cooperation MOUs being signed here in Malawi, and would gladly host such ceremonies, because it will show that as competition gurus, we are on our toes and doing our work. So we commend the two organizations, the Comesa Competition Commission and the Comesa, the Competition Authority of Kenya, for choosing to have this ceremony in Malawi. You could have chosen an independent or been to invite CCC to Kenya, but you honored us by allowing us to host this auspicious occasion. So on behalf of Malawi government, I would like to wish you well as you are heading back to your respective capital, and wishing you all success in implementing the revised MOU. We wish you success. Thank you very much.
But at this juncture, allow me to take you back to the program where now we would like to witness the official signing of the revised cooperation agreement between the CAK and the CCC. For this event, I will gladly invite our visitor, Director General, Kariuki, to come to the front, and also my Director and CEO, Dr. Willard Mwemba, to come in the front. We've prepared 2 seats. I know media is now interested to capture the best shot. So as my principals are setting up, I would like to invite the media to take the photos so that we can witness the signing ceremony.
Are we supposed to set to pose in a certain way?
Maybe we can remove the mask. Even yourself, Alex.
They're signing so much.
This one is complete.
Yes, indeed, putting pen to paper. So I think after this signing ceremony, I would like to invite my manager, responsible for legal services and compliance at the Comesa Competition Commission, to also come to the podium and give us a vote of thanks. Manager Mary Gurure.
On this auspicious occasion of the signing of the revised Memorandum of Understanding between Comesa Competition Commission and the Competition Authority of Kenya. On behalf of CAC and the CCC, I wish to express special appreciation to our host government for sending in their representative, Mrs. Charity Msonzo, on behalf of the Permanent Secretary for Trade, and for gracing today's ceremonial signing of our revised MOU. We do not take this gesture for granted, as I need to specifically mention that the Permanent Secretary, Madam Chatima, and Madam Sonso, they've been very supportive in their personal and also in their official capacity in supporting the Comesa Competition Commission from the time that it commenced operations in Malawi. That is almost 10 years ago. And for me, I think those are the two ladies I first encountered from the Ministry of Trade. And I remember, I think it was in 2014 or 2013, we had lunch with the two ladies when they were assisting us and also giving directions on how we can cooperate with the National Competition Authority of Malawi. The Competition Commission and the Competition Authority of CAC are also most grateful to Commissioner Vincent Boma for sparing your time from your busy schedule to come and give remarks at this important occasion on behalf of the board chair and on behalf of the board as a whole. Allow me, ladies and gentlemen, to specifically mention that Commissioner Goma is actually one of the key pioneers of the Comesa Competition Commission. He was part of the team, or even he worked with the former director before all of us even started joining the commission in establishing the Comesa Competition Commission. And moreover, this particular MOU that we are signing today, I need to let this august house know that he was actually the, I always confess, architect. He drafted the first MOU that we signed with the Competition Authority of Malawi. And we need for that to really applaud him. And I would ask the colleagues if we can just give him a hand of applause. Allow me also to express the Commission and CAC's sincere gratitude to Madam Apoche, the Executive Director of the Malawi and Fair Trading Commission, for the unwavering support to the Commission in accepting our invitation to celebrate this signing ceremony with the Competition Authority of Kenya. And as has already been alluded and reiterated at this podium, is that CFTC Malawi was the pioneer on this path in the signing of the MOU with the Comesa Competition Commission and even the revised MOU. We are therefore confident that you will continue to support the Commission and you will also continue to encourage other national competition authorities like CAC, for instance, and all other counterparts to maintain their high commitment to implement this revised MOU. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the Director of the Comesa Competition Commission, I wish to extend profound gratitude to the CAC Director General and his team for bringing this cooperation framework between our two institutions to this higher level. Allow me to thank in a special way the CAC Director General, Mr. Francis Wangome Kariuki, for actually, as my director earlier indicated, being the very first head of the National Competition Authority, to approach the Competition Commission, the Comesa Competition Commission, to develop and operationalize a cooperation framework. In a letter which, if I recall with my colleagues, we used to call it the Valentine letter to the Commission, because the letter was dated 14th February 2013. That was exactly a month after the Commission commenced its operations on 13 January 2013. Since the letter has been alluded to quite a number of times, allow me to quote verbatim the specific paragraph from the said letter, of course, which was preceded by a request to operationalize the Comesa competition regulations through the publication in the Comesa Official Gazette and other issues, the legal issues which Commissioner Ngoma actually alluded to. But the specific paragraph on cooperation, I would wish to read it to this august house. Quote, pursuant to Regulation 7, that is our Article 7, 2, D to E, and Rules 40, 41, 43, and 44.6 of the Comesa Competition Rules, among others. The authority, that is the Competition Authority of Kenya, is expected to play a major role in facilitating the Comesa Competition Commission achieve its mandate. Therefore, we posit that to actualize the interface, it is a legal requirement to develop and operationalize, inter alia, a cooperation framework between the authority and the Commission. I think with this, colleagues, let us give Mr. Kariuki a round of applause. So what we are witnessing today started a long time ago. And let me also hasten to mention that at that time he was also a board member of the Comesa Competition Commission. And he was very supportive to the operationalization of the commission. But the issue was he wanted things to be done according to the rules. And this is what was coming out in this letter. Anyway, unfortunately, there were some legitimate challenges which for some time hindered the actualization of the cooperation between the Commission and CAG. However, the challenges were eventually surmounted, and in April 2016, as you already have heard, CAG finally signed the MOU with the Commission. At this juncture, allow me maybe to consult from the podium whether DG Kariuki would be comfortable for me to tell the House where this MOU was signed, if you recall.
Go ahead.
He was a very busy man, so we had tried quite a number of times to get time to have such a ceremony, but because of his busy schedule, he eventually said, anyway, wherever we are going to have an event where CAC and the Comesa Competition Commission will attend, carry along that MOU and I will sign it. And myself, I was fortunate enough, together with Mr. Ali Kamanga, we carried the MOU, that was in 2016, April, to Singapore for the ICN annual conference. And Mr. Kariuki signed the MOU at that event. So you can see the commitment and the dedication from that time. Thereafter, Mr. Kariuki continued to exhibit the commitment towards the implementation of this first MOU as he allowed the CAC team to visit Malawi on a number of occasions to facilitate the successful implementation of the MOU. And Mr. Kamanga, I think, is the one who would know. I can't even count myself the number of times that the CAC team visited Malawi for this implementation. And as a result of that collaboration, continued engagement and meetings, we managed to end the issue of double notification challenges, among others, which were bedeviling our cooperation. So at this moment of celebration, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to express my sincere gratitude also to everyone whose dedication and efforts have contributed to the finalization of this MOU. I owe a particular mention to the staff of both the CCC and CAC for their steadfast commitment in taking time to review the MOU to ensure that our cooperation framework is mutually beneficial to the operations of our respective institutions. I would also like to make a special appreciation to the media who are always standing on occasions of this nature, but they don't get tired, and at the end of the day, they produce quite beautiful pictures. Even some of us who are not photogenic, they will do their best to make sure that at the end of the day, we all smile looking at ourselves. We thank you very much. So on this note, I wish to thank all of you again for your attendance and continued support. Thank you very much.